With the summer temperatures reaching triple digits across the country this week, the country braces for possible blackouts. But here's a comforting thought. Nissan and Mitsubishi announced that their electric cars could very soon be used to power a rice cooker or a microwave during a blackout. And Nissan is even working on a car which could store enough electricity to power an average U.S. household for an entire day. Now, isn't this a way to promote green energy, to let private companies innovate rather than using federal subsidies to prop up the industry? Well, let's find out. Here to discuss are the freedom fighters: America's Future Foundation Chair Kmele Foster, Newsday columnist Ellis Henican, and new to Freedom Watch, Emeritus Financial Advisor Lenore Hawkins. Lenore, want to start with you. This sounds fantastic to me. You know, I don't know about the rice cooker part, but nevertheless, industry innovating on their own to create a product that we would buy with our own money.
Well, first off, hats off to the manufacturers for some very creative marketing. However, for this technology to be competitive with the fossil fuels, market forces need to be allowed to operate freely. Government intervention only serves to pervert the incentives, pushing innovation into areas that may not be sustainable in the long run. The biggest problem for these vehicles is that they're less attractive. They're actually a worse option for people who drive long distances. Batteries need to improve both in terms of cost and capacity. And if through creative marketing, these manufacturers can generate more demand to support R&D, I say go for it.
You know, I got to tell you, Ellis, I'm one of these guys. I mean, I'm slow to hook up with new technology. I'm still listening to 8-track tapes. But ultimately, shouldn't the free market be allowed to pick the winners and losers in industry?
Well, Charles, I'm still trying to get my head around the idea of battery acid a la king. I think that's going to be pretty tasty off of the engine there. Well, yes, ultimately, of course. I mean, in the end, the technology is going to have to rise or fall in the marketplace. But there is a role, I think, for government here in the early days. And we still are very much in the early days of electric cars. You know, if a little bit of incentive, a little bit of government assistance, maybe a few tax credits here and there can get this thing rolling, there are many potential advantages. Energy advantages, environmental. I mean, let's get it going, huh?
Kmele, Ellis is pretty cavalier with our money. $8,000 a car, that's not a little bit of an incentive. We're talking billions of dollars have been plugged into this.
Yeah.
What is the deal? Why not just let the industry create a product that we simply want to buy and own?
Well, Charles, you know I agree with you. I mean, the problem with these subsidies is that they prop up uncompetitive companies and uncompetitive technologies for far too long. What this is the standard fallacy of the seen and the unseen. To the extent that you're propping up something like ethanol that isn't particularly efficient, or these older battery technologies, you never get to the good ones because the companies don't have the same incentive to continue to invest and develop. I mean, that's the problem with trying to prop up these uncompetitive technologies.
Right. I think the auto industry used to call that planned obsolescence or something like that. Yeah, absolutely right. Check this out. Florida made $63 million selling personal information from driver's licenses to information companies like LexisNexis. Now, should the government be able to make a profit off your personal data? Ellis, tell me this is not egregious.
No, it's creepy. I hate it. I mean, listen, there may be a reason, Charles, for the government to collect information. I mean, you know, in voter registration and these driving records, maybe property tax info. You know, that is public information, and properly so. But listen, it ought to be released and available, but there's no reason they need to profiteer over my secret data. Creepy. Get out of the business, Florida.
Yeah, I got to tell you, Lenore, here I am worried about Chinese hackers getting my personal information, and you got states actually selling it to the highest bidder. I mean, this is beyond creepy. This is a personal violation.
Well, the government, it's illegal to drive without a license. So the government is able to use the threat of force to get your personal information. It then aggregates that information and creates an asset which is clearly of some considerable value. However, that asset is our asset. We the people, we're the government. And when you look at the government, we ought to be able to dictate where that asset is used and if it is actually used.
You know, Kmele, for me, this gets back to the idea that when I hear government officials talk all the time, it feels like everything is eminent domain. When they talk about us getting bigger tax cuts, they talk about their money. Like, you know, like somehow when I go to work, it's their money, and whatever I get in my check, it's I should be grateful for. But this takes it even a step further, that they would actually profit off our personal information.
It does. And I think it's all typical of what you would expect from a government that has just gone grown beyond all proportion of what is sensible here. I mean, we see it with the TSA. They take pictures of us when we're essentially naked, and there are always these safeguards that are promised to us, but the safeguards always inevitably fail. The pictures get out, our property is getting stolen, and here again, while they're saying your information will not be sold to anyone that's going to be predatory or take advantage of you, inevitably the safeguards will fail. That is the real problem.
Well, but in this case, Ellis, there is no safeguard. They're not making any promises. They're taking our information, whether we like it or not, and they're selling it. They're profiting from it. This is a very slippery slope.
Oh, wait, but hold on a second, guys. I mean, the problem isn't the gathering of the information. I mean, there are appropriate reasons that the government ought to have some information before they give you a driver's license. My problem with it is the selling of it. This is public information. It belongs to all of us. You know, sorry, guys, but in the big bad world, you do have to reveal some things about yourself to operate.
Do you think there's any correlation between this and snapping naked pictures of us when we're going to the airport to board a plane? This isn't at all related?
No, but listen, it's
related
in that welcome to the modern. You know, I mean, welcome to the modern world. I mean, it would be
the modern world is naked pictures of me at the airport.
Oh, you know what? I don't think anybody wants to see those naked pictures.
Lenore,
what said no one sees them?
Lenore.
Well, they're clearly aware that this is a very dangerous thing to do because they will withhold the information for judges and policemen. So under the guise of trying to protect us with these driver's licenses, they're without our consent exposing us to possible dangers of which they're well aware.
Special protection for state officials, the common guy. You get, look, pass on your information and shut up about it.
And Ellis, the bottom line, Ellis, is that this is smacks of desperation and obviously violations of a lot of personal rights, no matter how you try to dress it up.
I'll give you the desperation, but they're broke in Tallahassee. They'll do anything to raise a buck. But get used to the idea that basic public information is going to be out there. It's in the phone book, too, by the way. You don't need your driver's license.
You may not have heard, but on this show, we fight and defend freedom every night. We're not going to get used to anything. Okay, find out why the federal government has deemed potatoes enemy number one when it comes to your children. More with the freedom fighters next. Children should always eat their vegetables, right? The federal government doesn't think so. It deems potatoes as the latest threat to your kids' health. Newly proposed USDA school lunch regulations would allow schools to serve kids just 1 cup of starchy vegetables a week. Here to discuss are the freedom fighters, Americans Foundation Chair Kmele Foster, Newsday columnist Ellis Henican, and new to Freedom Watch, Emeritus Financial Advisor Lenore Hawkins. I got to go to you on this one first, Kmele. Do you have kids?
I don't have any.
You don't have kids. When you have kids, do you think it's okay for the school to tell them, watch out for the big bad potato, it could kill you?
No, I think at the end of the day, in an ideal world, parents would make decisions about what their kids are eating, not bureaucrats. I mean, one of the consequences of having a centralized public school system that's kind of run top down is that everything gets politicized, even what ends up on our kids' plates. It's difficult to think about this story and not think about all of the subsidies that are handed out to farmers around the country. It's difficult not to see the political angle here.
You know, Lenore, the idea here is the nanny state run amok. You know, one potato a week. What's the deal with that?
Nowhere in the Constitution is the federal government given the power to dictate the contents of a student's lunch. But once you start with a national education system, you have supervision over curriculum, and you have government-provided meals, controls are going to follow. However, under the Constitution, we are the stewards of our republic, but we have given up our responsibilities and the corresponding freedoms that come with that under some guise of government-provided caretaking. They're going to keep us somehow safe. We are the ones responsible for dictating what we eat and what our children eat, and we have the inalienable right to pursue our own happiness, even if that is found in a French fry.
You know, you're absolutely right. We have given up these powers, and I got to tell you, the only good thing out of this, Ellis, is maybe there'll be a black market in the potatoes. Maybe I can find a way for my son to make some extra money smuggling in French fries to school.
I got a nickel bag of potatoes for you, Charles. Listen, I cannot believe that you guys are coming out in favor of fat children. Seriously. I mean, I understand. The kiddies are going to eat candy bars and a bunch of dreadful stuff, and the parents have the big responsibility. But when kids get a lunch program at school, don't we want it to be healthy? I mean, have you noticed how many little chubby kids are out there? This is not good for them. Come on, don't be in favor of fat kids.
These kids are chubby because they don't have gym, and then when they do have gym, they play games where there's no winners or losers, and they sit around and play video games all day long. If they ran the way we Ram, when I was a kid, I could eat 20 hamburgers. I weighed 100 pounds less than I do now. Let's leave it there.
Come on.
Okay,
Oh,
listen to this. If lawmakers in Congress don't approve a short-term stopgap measure to keep the Federal Aviation Administration open, well, it faces a partial shutdown on Friday. But really, would it be so bad if the FAA got its wings clipped? Lenore, really, would it be such a bad thing?
Oh, here we go again. Once again, the government waits until the 11th hour to do something. Can you imagine a family or a company operating this way, where they wait till the problem's on fire before they address it? Well, the debates come down to really three main issues, and one of these issues is unionizing the workers. I'm completely against unionization of any government workers for the simple reason that there's no checks and balances. If a private enterprise decides to unionize, they face competitive pressures that help keep the union in check so that the union goals don't run counter to the best interest of the company. With a government, you don't have those kinds of checks and balances, as is evidenced by the fact that government employees get about 200% in their total compensation of what the private sector receives.
In fact, Kmele, even FDR didn't want the public sector workers to be unionized. He saw the wisdom in that.
Yeah, no.
But let's get back to the FAA and being partially shut down. Pros, cons?
Well, I think that there are some major pros there. I mean, Canada since 1996 has had a private company taking care of their aviation administration. I don't see any reason, I've never seen a compelling reason anyways, for the federal government to be involved in directing airplanes. Canada does it more efficiently, more affordably, and more safe, with a safer track record than the United States does. We've had any number of close calls here in the last year. Let's get rid of the FDA, especially at a time when we're having a budget crisis now.
I don't know. After listening to that, Ellis, I feel like, man, maybe I should be flying over Canada's air rather than ours. Kmele's making some pretty good points here.
You know, guys, I don't remember this being such a big problem before Reagan busted Patco. I don't remember these kind of problems. Listen, there are, guys, some things, I know you all are reluctant to acknowledge this, but some things the government does better than profit-making organizations.
But they don't do this better than profit-making organizations.
They don't do this better.
They don't happen to do this thing better.
You know what? I would rather have the one thing my air traffic controllers be concerned about was my safety, not whether their stockholders were getting a better return on their buck. I don't know about you guys,
apparently in Canada that's not a problem.
Well,
so what are we worried about here?
Oh, okay, you know,
when you get into your car, you turn the ignition on, you drive it down the road, you're not so worried about whether or not they want to make a profit on your car. They do, and they keep it safe for you.
I'll make you guys a deal.
And who has the greater interest?
We will take Canada's health plan, and I'll go along with the air traffic thing at the same time. You want to do that?
No, I won't take that deal.
So, Lenore, Friday looms large. The FAA, they don't get this funding. Are you going to stop flying?
No, in fact, I've got to fly on Saturday, and I think I'm going to get a lot of delays. I'll bring a big book with me.
We'll see. What about you, Lenore? I mean, realistically, though, this is another opportunity, another window of opportunity, maybe to prove that there's too much government out there.
Oh, definitely. I mean, who has the greater interest in the safety of planes? Maybe the companies that spend billions of dollars building these planes and putting this infrastructure into the airports. The only thing that you've got with the government, if things don't go well, is some sort of political embarrassment. I'd rather go with somebody who has to answer to shareholders and the loss of fortunes.
You know, Kmele, that's a great point. We're talking about accountability here, and you really don't get that with these workers who are in these big unions, right?
You know,
I'd
guys,
say that's absolutely right.
All right, guys.
That's absolutely right.
We're going to leave it there. From New York, defending freedom on behalf of Judge Napolitano, I'm Charles Payne. Thank you for watching, and good night.